Texas lawmakers say it's time to do something about the homeless camps on sidewalks and under highways in the city of Austin.
A growing concern here in San Antonio is our city ranks second in the state of Texas for the highest homeless population count.
This man doesn't want to be identified because he does not want his daughters to know 3 weeks ago he lost his housing.
Did you know Texas is the second state in the USA with the highest number of homeless immigrants? Texas, a state known for its pride and resilience, is now grappling with dual crises: skyrocketing homelessness in San Antonio and intense strains from illegal immigration in Houston and Dallas. Why are these cities struggling the most? What's fueling the chaos? Let's break down the causes, impact, and challenges, and what is being done by government authorities to tackle this crisis. Let's start with some shocking facts about homelessness in Texas. Homelessness in San Antonio hits breaking point. Homelessness surged by 28% since 2020, with over 30 unsheltered residents in 2023. In Texas, the 2024 point-in-time count revealed that 57,685 people experienced homelessness, with 26% being unsheltered and 74% sheltered. In Texas, the 2025 point-in-time PIT count revealed that 300 individuals in Midland were experiencing homelessness, with 239 sheltered and the rest unsheltered, a decrease from the previous year. Shelters report 90% GIO capacity nightly, forcing many to sleep in parks or under highways. Reasons behind the surge are affordable housing crisis. Median rent spiked 22% post-pandemic, outpacing wage growth. Mental health. Addiction. 40% of homeless individuals face untreated mental illness. Immigrant influx could be another reason to add to the crisis. While not directly linked, aid groups note some migrant families entering shelters after federal processing. Ever wondered what are its impact on the city? First impact is strain on services. Nonprofits like Haven for Hope struggle with funding and overcrowding. Second impact is public health risks. Hepatitis A outbreaks and overdose deaths doubled. With growing homeless population comes big challenges for the city. Some of the challenges are policy gridlock, city council debates, housing first versus stricter camping bans. Federal aid shortfalls are also a major challenge. Texas rejected $12 in federal homelessness grants in 2023 over strings attached. Should cities prioritize shelters or affordable housing? Comment below. Here are top 10 facts about homelessness and poverty in Texas that will leave you speechless. Housing shortage in Texas. Texas has experienced significant economic growth, attracting many new residents seeking job opportunities and a better quality of life. However, this rapid population increase has led to a shortage of affordable housing. In 2022, the state needed approximately 320 additional homes to meet demand, up from about 306 the previous year. This housing shortage has driven up home prices and rents, making it difficult for many Texans to find affordable places to live. For example, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the median home price increased by more than 40% between 2020 and 2023, rising from just over 267 to over 400. The shortage is particularly challenging for low-income residents. Texas has only 25 affordable and available rental homes for every 100 extremely low-income renter households. In major cities, the situation is even more severe. Austin has 21, Dallas has 17, and Houston has only 15 affordable rentals per 100 extra low-income renter households. Houston. Strategic initiatives amid fluctuating trends. Houston reported 280 individuals experiencing homelessness in 2024, placing it third in the state. The city has launched a $70 million plan aiming to end street homelessness by 2026, involving collaboration between city funds, state programs, and private entities. Efforts are underway to address the housing crisis. Some policymakers are considering reforms to zoning regulations to allow for the construction of more diverse housing types, such as duplexes and townhomes, which can increase housing availability and affordability. Additionally, learning from other states' initiatives, like Florida's Live Local Act, could provide strategies to incentivize private sector development of affordable housing through tax credits and property tax exemptions. Despite these efforts, the demand for housing continues to outpace supply, especially for middle and lower-income earners. Addressing this issue requires coordinated action from both the public and private sectors to ensure that Texas remains an affordable place to live for all its residents. During the pandemic, several federal programs provided crucial support to people struggling to pay rent or secure a home. Programs such as the expanded child tax credit and eviction moratoria help keep many families in their homes, easing the financial burden on local communities. However, now that these programs have ended, cities and counties are facing a sudden gap in funding that once helped cover housing costs, support rental assistance, and prevent evictions. Without that federal support, local governments are having to look for new ways to fill the void. In places like Houston and Dallas, officials are trying out creative new programs aimed at quickly moving people off the streets and into permanent housing. They have started initiatives that work with nonprofit organizations, community groups, and even private companies to stretch every available dollar. Despite these efforts, the funding that used to come directly from federal relief programs is no longer there in the same amounts, leaving many local leaders feeling the pressure to come up with a coordinated, nationwide solution. Dallas, leading in numbers and facing multifaceted challenges. This situation is challenging because, without a unified federal response, local governments must scramble to reallocate limited resources. They are forced to rely on a mix of leftover pandemic funds, local tax revenues, and donations, which are often not enough to meet the growing demand. As a result, many communities are finding it increasingly difficult to provide the consistent, long-term support needed to tackle the root causes of homelessness and help people get back on their feet. The role of immigration in homelessness trends. Texas shares a long border with Mexico, which means it naturally sees a steady flow of new people coming into the state. Many of these newcomers, whether they enter legally or not, are looking for opportunities, better jobs, safer communities, and a chance to start over. Over time, these migrants have helped shape Texas into a vibrant and diverse place with rich cultural traditions and a strong sense of community. At the same time, some critics worry that this continuous influx of people might be putting extra pressure on housing and public services. They point to crowded shelters and a rising need for affordable housing as signs that the growing population is stretching local resources too thin. However, experts remind us that while migration does increase the number of residents, it is just one part of a larger picture. The challenge of homelessness in Texas also involves a lack of affordable housing, rising rent costs, and limited financial support for those in need. In simple terms, more people moving into Texas can mean both benefits and challenges. On the one hand, newcomers bring energy, new skills, and help boost local economies. On the other hand, if there aren't enough affordable homes available, or if public services can't keep up with the growing demand, then some residents may find themselves without stable housing. The key issue isn't migration by itself, but whether communities can plan and invest enough in housing and support systems to accommodate everyone who needs help. San Antonio homeless crisis. San Antonio is facing one of the worst homelessness crises in Texas, with numbers steadily rising over the years. The city has long struggled with poverty and housing shortages, but recent reports show that the situation is becoming more severe. In 2024 alone, a record 364 homeless individuals lost their lives in San Antonio. This shocking number highlights just how dangerous it is for people living on the streets, where they face extreme weather, lack of medical care, and increasing crime. The city's shelters and nonprofit organizations work tirelessly to provide support, but the demand for help is far greater than what they can supply. Many people experiencing homelessness in San Antonio are struggling with mental health issues, addiction, or job loss, making it even harder for them to get back on their feet. One of the biggest problems is the lack of affordable housing. San Antonio has been growing rapidly, and as more people move in, rent prices continue to rise. For low-income families and individuals already living paycheck to paycheck, even a small rent increase can push them into homelessness. The waiting lists for government housing assistance are long, and there aren't enough low-cost rental options available. This leaves many people with nowhere to go, forcing them to sleep in shelters, cars, or on the streets. Some parts of the city have become hotspots for homeless camps, where large groups of people set up tents in empty lots or under bridges. However, city officials often remove these camps, leaving people with even fewer options. Local organizations are making efforts to address the problem, but the challenges are overwhelming. Nonprofits conduct annual counts to track the homeless population and find better ways to support them. Some programs focus on providing permanent housing rather than temporary shelters, believing that stable housing is the first step in helping someone rebuild their life. Despite these efforts, funding remains a major issue. Many programs rely on donations and government grants, which are often not enough to meet the growing need. As a result, shelters are overcrowded, and many people are turned away due to a lack of space. San Antonio's homelessness crisis is not just a problem for those directly affected, it impacts the entire city. Businesses in downtown areas report an increase in people sleeping in doorways, and residents express concerns about safety. At the same time, advocates argue that treating homelessness as a crime rather than a social issue only makes things worse. Instead of moving people from one place to another, many believe the city needs to invest more in mental health services, job training, and affordable housing solutions. Without a long-term plan, the crisis will only continue to grow, affecting more individuals and families who are already struggling to survive. Homeless crisis in Dallas. Dallas faces a major challenge when it comes to keeping people in their homes. In recent years, many residents in the Dallas area have been forced to leave their homes because landlords are filing a large number of eviction cases. This means that even a small problem like a late rent payment due to a sudden medical bill or other emergency can lead to a legal process that ultimately makes it very hard for a family or individual to stay housed. When someone is evicted, their record shows that they have been unable to pay rent on time, and this black mark can make it difficult to rent another place in the future. For many people, this cycle of eviction and homelessness becomes a nearly inescapable reality. At the same time, the area is also dealing with the problem of rising rents and limited affordable housing. Many people in Dallas simply do not earn enough money to keep up with the increasing cost of renting an apartment or house. With wages that aren't rising much, a small increase in rent can push someone over the edge, making it impossible for them to pay on time. As more residents fall behind on rent, eviction cases rise even further, creating a vicious cycle where more and more people lose their home. Local shelters and support services are put under enormous pressure to help these individuals, but the resources available often aren't enough to meet the growing need. The impact of these trends is felt by the whole community. When more people are evicted, the number of individuals living on the streets or in temporary shelters increases. This not only affects those who have lost their homes, but it also puts a strain on public services and makes the issue of homelessness more visible and urgent. In Dallas, the problem isn't just about a lack of affordable housing, it's also about the way eviction filings can damage a renter's future opportunities and make it even harder for people to regain stability in their lives. The situation calls for a deeper look at both the economic pressures people face and the need for policies that help protect vulnerable residents from the long-lasting effects of eviction. Houston's Housing First model and its complexities. Houston has made significant progress in reducing homelessness over the past decade, primarily by implementing a Housing First approach. This strategy focuses on providing permanent housing to individuals experiencing homelessness as the initial step, followed by offering supportive services to address issues like mental health and substance abuse. Since adopting this model in 2012, Houston has achieved a 63% reduction in homelessness, successfully housing over 30 individuals. The Housing First model operates on the principle that stable housing is a fundamental need that should be met before addressing other challenges. By securing permanent housing, individuals are better positioned to tackle issues such as unemployment, health concerns, and addiction. This approach contrasts with traditional methods that often require individuals to resolve these issues before obtaining housing. In Houston, this model has led to a high housing retention rate, with 95% of participants remaining housed long-term. A key factor in Houston's success has been the collaboration among over 100 local organizations, collectively known as the Way Home. This coordinated effort ensures that resources are effectively allocated and services are tailored to individual needs, providing comprehensive support that extends beyond housing. However, Houston's approach has faced challenges. The city benefited from a relatively affordable rental market and federal relief funds following natural disasters like Hurricane Harvey. As these funds diminish, sustaining the program's success becomes more difficult. Additionally, there are concerns about the accuracy of homelessness data, with some suggesting that the actual numbers may be higher than reported. Despite these challenges, Houston's Housing First model serves as a notable example of how prioritizing stable housing can lead to significant reductions in homelessness. The city's experience underscores the importance of collaboration, adaptability, and sustained investment in addressing homelessness effectively. The Texas Dilemma: balancing economic growth, immigration, and homelessness. Texas is currently facing a significant challenge with homelessness. In 2023, over 27,000 people in the state were without a permanent place to live, marking a 12% increase from the previous year. This rise mirrors a national trend, as the United States saw a record-high 771,480 individuals experiencing homelessness in 2024. Several factors contribute to this growing issue in Texas. The state's booming economy and population growth have led to increased housing demand, causing rents and property prices to rise. For many low-income individuals and families, these higher costs make it difficult to afford stable housing, pushing some into homelessness. Additionally, Texas's location along the U.S.-Mexico border presents unique challenges. The state has seen a significant influx of migrants seeking refuge and better opportunities. While some argue that this increase strains local resources and contributes to homelessness, others contend that migrants are not the primary cause of housing shortages. Regardless, the arrival of large numbers of migrants does place additional demands on shelters and social services, complicating efforts to assist both new arrivals and existing homeless populations. Major cities in Texas, such as San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas, are particularly affected. San Antonio, for example, reported approximately 400 individuals experiencing homelessness in 2024, surpassing numbers in Houston and Austin. These urban areas face the dual challenge of addressing the needs of their homeless residents while managing the broader impacts of economic and demographic changes. Efforts are underway to tackle homelessness in Texas. Local governments and nonprofit organizations are working to provide affordable housing, improve access to mental health services, and offer job training programs. However, the complexity of the issue requires coordinated strategies and sustained commitment from all sectors of society to ensure that every Texan has a place to call home. Texas is at a crossroads where the challenges of homelessness, rising housing costs, and the impacts of immigration have created a complex situation that affects real people every day. Many individuals and families across Texas find themselves struggling to keep a roof over their heads as affordable housing becomes scarcer. The numbers tell a hard story, but behind those figures are stories of people facing daily uncertainty and hardship. These challenges are felt most deeply in major cities like San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas, where the combined pressures of rapid growth and shifting demographics are reshaping communities and straining local services. At the same time, there is hope in the efforts of community organizations and local governments. Many Texans are working tirelessly to find lasting solutions, whether it's by providing stable housing options, increasing support services, or improving access to job training and mental health care. The state's unique position as a border state adds layers of complexity to the issue, yet it also brings the opportunity for creative, collaborative approaches that can benefit everyone. By understanding these challenges and the human stories behind the numbers, we can better appreciate the need for thoughtful policies that protect and empower vulnerable residents. We all have a role to play in ensuring that everyone has a safe, stable place to call home. If you found this discussion helpful and want to stay informed about the issues affecting our communities, please consider subscribing to our channel.